Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Monday and all of that. Got a lot to talk about today. Well, it's a lot, but we want to go more in depth. Today we're going to be talking about the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine, Hamas. Also, too, going to be talking about Tommy Tuberville, the village idiot who is now pissed off his colleagues, as well as taking a look in the ever-pressing ongoing Donald Trump trials, gag orders, testimonies, knife fights, you name it. But make sure you please subscribe to the channel, Secretary of Shade. Also, to Secretary of Shade, TikTok will be coming soon. I am excited because tomorrow we are doing our final camera test with the new cameras, new sets, so that'll be coming out within the next 2 weeks at the latest. So I'm excited about that. Also, too, something that I want to introduce because we cover a lot in these meetings, and I want to kind of start doing like in-depth special one-offs. Like with this Trump case, it's a lot going on in this case, which can get lost. So I kind of want to do like kind of a recap of everything that's happened in these financial trials and the election interference trials and things like that. Also, too, with this Gaza and Israel conflict, it's a lot going on with that as well. So I kind of want to start doing those types of things. So you'll be seeing more updates. As you can see, we've been updating a little bit more frequently here because I want to at least visit you guys once a week and maybe do 2 offshoots. But yes, everything is coming along well. Shout out once again to my sponsors, Care for Equity, who are helping me bring this show into the next phase. But with that being said, we're in the middle of 2 wars. We have the war of course, with Ukraine and Russia, but more recently, of course, you haven't been able to run from it. You can't hide from it. If you're under a rock, if you don't know at least the basics of what's going on, is this Israel-Hamas Palestinian conflict. Now, of course, what happened on October 7th, and I spoke on it a few weeks ago when it first hit, was terrible. You know, Hamas, goes into villages, music festivals, butchers a bunch of Israelites, some 1,500 or so. And as a result, of course, the IDF, which is the Israeli army for Israel, responded as they should, And it's created immense backlash, especially from the United States government, right? So the United States government at the start of this conflict, of course, was, very pro-Israel, sending, resources over to help them combat Hamas, the whole thing. Joe Biden made a speech about it. It was a whole thing. But what I don't think they were anticipating was the level of support that the people of Palestine would receive, not just from the Arab and Middle Eastern world, but also too from here in the United States and its allies. So it's caused the United States government to kind of have to take a step back, because it's giving backlash, backdrafts, it's giving all of that. And so as a result, the United States government has had to kind of reel it in a little bit and kind of backtrack to show support as well for the Palestinian people that are dealing with the conflict in Gaza. Now, just to paint this picture for you, 1,500 Israelis were killed in that massacre, so that's terrible. Not discarding that. But I think the number of Palestinians that have been killed since the ground assault, the airstrikes from the Israeli response, has been like 3 or 4 times that number. Some 7,000, 8,000. It's like 3 or 4 times that number so far and counting. Okay, so when you see this video, if you catch it later down the line, this is as of November the 6th, 2023. So this is and counting, bitch. Okay, now, the thing is, the Gaza Strip is to make it make sense to us, for those of you watching in America and for some of you abroad. The Gaza Strip is roughly the size of Philadelphia. It's the size of Philadelphia. You have 2 million or so people living in a strip the size of Philadelphia, bitch. Okay? Not the state of Pennsylvania, not the outlying counties of Pennsylvania, bitch, just the city of Philadelphia. So you have 2 million people crammed in this space. In that space, 42%, 42.5%, between 42.5% to 45% of that population is children. Okay? So let's put that into perspective for the number of people who have been killed in Palestine, with these airstrikes and ground assaults as a retaliation to the horrible things that Hamas did. Most of those are children. And it's been very, I'm going to tell you, because I don't know how you guys are dealing with this. I know we have our meetings. I know me personally, I've realized that I suffer from anxiety attacks because of the news. So like this affects me. But moving on from that, it is very hard to see children on television with battle scars. Like, why are you 8 with shrapnel wounds? You know, like, this is the world that we're living in. And I saw some of these babies, they were so shocked, from like in such a state of shock that they just weren't talking. They had one child who hadn't talked in days. He's the only survivor of his entire family. It was like 20 of them or some big number. And he's the only survivor. You have kids with scars on their faces, you know, legs in traction and things like that. And I understand, be clear here. I'm all about people being able to defend themselves and respond. But no war is clean. Let's also put that out there. But you're killing a lot of children trying to get to these Hamas people. And, you know, you have the United States government saying, you know, they need to come up with a better way. When I say they, meaning Israel, needs to come up with a better way on how to deal with this and how to respond and everything like that. But I find that very hypocritical of the United States government, and here's why. Because Israel is supported by the United States government. When the United States government has an enemy, they don't give a damn about how many children they kill. They don't give a damn about who got bombed in those places. We don't even see that on the news. That's the gagger. Think about it. Think about it, Cabinet. When's the last time the United States bombed somebody or went and did warfare that we saw children being broadcast on the news that were killed? Because we always see, at least in United States news and news here in America, we usually only see the adults, the bad guys, the villains, you know? We only see that. But with this, it's different because we're able to see the children. Now, granted, once again, the Gaza Strip has more children, you know, has a high population of children. So I get why you would see more kids, but you can't, the United States government can't look at Israel and be like, oh my God, you need to come up with a better way. That's terrible. They're in the vision of you. Like, let's be clear here. Like, Israel is the vision of America. They're only doing what they've been trying to do, niece. But we're not ready for that conversation. Another thing, in these wars, they're bombing refugee camps with civilians. They bombed a refugee camp, I believe, 4 times that had 116,000 people in that camp. They're bombing ambulances. Now, granted, It is a known fact that Hamas terrorist organizations, when you're in war, they do hijack ambulances to use them. So I want to make that fair, and I want to put that into perspective. But it's not a good look, especially you're not just fighting a war that is where we get the report once a week or just once on the evening news. With the way technology is, we're getting footage from drones. We're getting hour-on-the-hour recaps of what's happening. We're getting social media videos. So the information that you get from these places hits a little different and more frequently than in decades and centuries past. You know, a lot of these things, and let's put this into perspective. Let's think about this. A lot of these things that we are seeing have always happened. The difference is now we get to see them in real time, in person, and live in color. And that's why it seems like such a shock. But I promise you people, what's going on in Israel with Gaza and this whole ordeal is nothing new. Nothing about it is new. And I think we need to realize that. Another thing too, and I don't know if you all watch the news. I've kind of like flicked between channels, but they have this general from the IDF and the Israeli army, Lieutenant Colonel Conricus. And I just think he's the worst spokesman for what's going on. If anybody on the Israeli side is listening to this video, please stop having him go on camera. He is not the guy to prove your cause, fight your cause, state what's going on. He's just not the guy. His PR training is absolutely fucking terrible, okay? Now, granted, he's not an entertainer, he's not a showman, he's not a news reporter, he's an army general. But when you bring those people onto television, they then step into the realm of public relations. And he is not good at public relations. If anything, when they bombed that refugee camp, I think it was one of those places, the many places, that they have bombed. And they said they knew that they had bombed a civilian target. I was horrified. Me and Wolf Blitzer, bitch. I was like, what? Like, pearl, I don't even wear pearls, and they were clutched. I couldn't believe me and Wolf Blitzer, like, bitch, he on TV, I'm on the couch, and we both look like, bitch, gagged, okay? And they admitted it. And here's the thing. The IDF is on a slippery slope because you may find yourself one day becoming the villain. And you don't want to become the villain when your initial cause was noble. I get it. But you don't want to become the villain because you just out here just willy-nilly, you out on revenge, and now you the bad guy. You the bad guy, niece. And if we're basing it strictly on numbers, like if the whole concept of an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, whatever, if we live by that, y'all done got about 85 eyes to Hamas's one, okay? And as a result, it's causing a lot of backlash. You know, students in colleges are having a lot of issues. It's just so much going on that it is really, really, really become an issue that I don't think anybody anticipated and has really caused a lot of people to rethink what they thought about how this would go, if that makes sense. Now, we have all of this going on. Now, granted, we got this big conflict that we done got dragged into. We got the Russia-Ukraine situation. So for these, you need military, right? Exactly. However, the military can't get its people in place because we have a village idiot by the name of Tommy Tuberville, okay? So Tommy Tuberville, just to give you a little background, Tommy Tuberville is a senator, okay, who has been blocking, I believe he's from Alabama, senator from Alabama. He's been blocking military appointments because, and here's why. His sole reason for blocking these appointments is because he doesn't feel like the military should pay for women in the military to travel to different states to get abortions. So if you like, so let's say you're in the military, niece, and you've been out, y'all got drunk one night, y'all was off, and you had a little moment, got knocked up, didn't get the pill, didn't know you was pregnant, and you need to get an abortion. But the state where you're stationed at or living in has banned abortions. Thanks, canceling Roe v. Wade. So now you have to travel to another state to get the abortion done. Well, the United States military would pay for that to be done for you. However, Tommy Tuberville is stating that he doesn't feel like the military should pay for that shit. You should just have the baby and keep it moving, bitch. Or either you pay for your own fucking abortion out of your own pay, but then go back to serving the country who didn't want to help you get the abortion in the first place and wanted to have rights over your body. So, in what he thinks is this noble gesture, this grandstanding gesture, this idiot has been blocking appointments to the military. Now, you may ask yourself, DDM, how is it that one man can stop military appointments? It's all these senators, all these people in government. How is he able to do that? Well, that's because in the Senate, one senator, can challenge appointments. Okay? So, according to the Associated Press, in the Senate, one senator can hold up nominations or legislation even if the other 99 want to move forward. Generally, leaders in the majority party get around this by holding a series of votes to move a measure and dispense of the whole. It just takes some additional time on the Senate floor. But Tuberville's blockade is unique because there are hundreds of military nominations and promotions, and Democratic leaders would have had to hold roll call votes on every single one of them to get it around the whole. It's a decades-long tradition for the Senate to group military promotions together and approve them by voice vote, avoiding lengthy roll calls. Okay? So, typically they say, like think about it like this. So you got 10 captains that you need to get approved, right? And we know we're going to approve these captains. It's a necessary evil. So instead of you saying we're going to call a vote on every one of these captains, they do a group vote, they do a voice vote. Okay, we approve these 10 captains. Everything's on with the world. Right with the world. But Tommy Tuberville is challenging every single one of them to the point, bitch, where last week the Republicans got the argument, bitch. The girls are fighting. So, you starting to piss people off when you got Lindsey Graham, arguing with another Republican, because he just goes wherever the wind blows, But, so, what happened was, the deadlock, and this is according to Politico, bitch. I actually saw some of this. This is interesting. The deadlock reached a dramatic and very public phase when a cadre of GOP senators confronted Tuberville on the Senate floor Wednesday night. This was last Wednesday. Blaming the Alabama lawmakers' blanket hold for weakening the military at a precarious moment for the world. The 4-hour-plus event, which forced Tuberville to object to votes on 61 nominees, marked a pivotal moment for Republicans as their private frustrations with the freshman lawmaker spilled over onto live TV for all to see. I think what it says about where things are is Tommy's losing support, Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota said, of the Republican-on-Republican fight. And you're seeing the frustration build up because the consequences are building up. Okay? So, bitch, they got to arguing, bitch. So Tommy Tuberville talking about basically, girl, me holding out is not fucking up the military and shit like that. And basically the Republicans is like, niece, hold the fuck up now. You're trying it. We have 2 wars going on right now that we're fighting, and we ain't got no people sitting in these seats. This is a national security hazard at this point. Fuck your personal beliefs. Fuck that. Because one thing, let me tell you this. When it comes down to it, all that shit, reproductive rights, all that shit, that's fun to a lot of these far right people. But when you start telling them that they ain't got no military personnel or protection, shit gets sketchy. Okay? And the knives come out. So this idiot has been doing, he's been doing this for like, I think since like the summer. It's been like forever that he's been doing this. And it's finally reached a fever pitch because we're in two wars. So they're now, and no shade, Tommy Tuberville might be the person that brings the Senate together for bipartisan, working together for the Democrats and Republicans to work together. Because now the Republicans trying to figure out a way to get around his ass, and the Democrats have been actively trying to find a way to get around his ass. And Mitch McConnell is already on board, in a twist of fate, because we ain't talked about him yet. But Mitch McConnell, ever since Skynet updated his shit, they updated his software, he been like, okay, Joe, you make a little bit of sense. So Mitch McConnell is like very much of, yes, we need to get these military appointments together. We need to get this money allocated. We need to have this shit, like what Joe was saying in this regard, makes sense to me. Bitch, what is you doing? So now you got the Democrats and the Republicans actively trying to figure out a way to get rid of this bitch. Okay? Sometimes you have to pick the hill on which you are going to die on. I think as a result of Trumpism, that's going to be in the history books, bitch. As a result of Trumpism and this, I don't know what to call it, but this caveman kind of mentality when it comes to your political belief system, it's caused some people to just become delusional. And I think that as a result, it's causing the upside to that is it's causing, those of us with, cooler heads and common sense to say, wait a minute now, wait a minute. What's going on? Okay? What's going on? So this idiot is sitting here looking dumb. He's slowly becoming a pariah of his own party. Okay? Speaking of the Republican Party, they're still in shambles. We got this new speaker. He's starting to face challenges. We'll have more on that later this week. George Santos, they're trying to expel him from the Senate. Some of his fellow New Yorkers and shit like that. It's just a damn mess. The Republican Party is just messy. Then you had 3 senators in the Republican Party say that they're not running for re-election, so those seats will be up for grabs. It's just, which could be good for Democrats, but it's just the Republican Party is just messy. It's messy. And at the way that things are going right now in the world, it's just the type of mess we don't need at this moment, at this juncture. We just don't need it. And it's just doing a lot. Last but not least, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I feel like we give this person way too much time. But, of course, the ongoing fraud trials with Donald Trump, the election interference trials. He got gag orders galore. It's just a lot going on. Okay, so last week, bitch, in the New York fraud trial, because he got so many trials. See, this is why I gotta do a special, because it's too much. In the New York fraud trial, Don Jr. and Eric Trump testified, bitch. Now, this was a key because it's an exercise in privilege. It is an absolute exercise in privilege. Okay? They blamed the accountants. They brought up emails showing where they was fiddling with the finances and things like that. They paid it. They blamed everybody but the but the judge. but themselves rather. It's just a lot. Okay, so Donald Trump Jr. says, you know, he relies on on accountants. Okay, so, Donald Trump Jr., whose testimony began on Wednesday, repeatedly said that he relied on his accountants and was not involved with the preparations of financial statements for his father, even though he signed them as a trustee of his father's revocable trust. As a trustee started in 2017, once Donald Trump became president, Trump Jr. signed certifications for annual financial submittals required for Trump Organization's loans at Deutsche Bank for the old post office, Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago, and Doral Golf and Spa Resort in Florida. He testified that he didn't draft the financial statements, and when he certified them as a trustee, he relied on the Trump Organization accounting and legal teams that he would have assured him they were accurate to sign. So here's my thing, bitch. When me and you sign some shit that we didn't fucking read, we going to jail, bitch. If we tell the IRS, the tax returns is right because we believed H&R Block, they ain't trying to hear that shit. They ain't trying to hear we talked to Jackson Hewitt and Jackson Hewitt said it was right, bitch. Our asses is either getting docked, fined, audited, or we're going to fucking jail. Now, here's the thing where I'm actually going to give him a little bit of breathing room. I could totally see him believing that this shit was right, not reading it and signing it. I can totally see that. But here's the thing. There's an accountability that comes when you do stuff like that. And you have to be mindful of that. They've been in this game long enough to know that this is how it works. Furthermore, another thing that really makes my skin crawl about this testimony and this case in general is the level of disrespect for the court that Donald Trump and his family has exhibited. I have never seen, as a black person, as a person of color, I've never seen, we would be thrown under the jail. They put gag orders on him. He don't give a fuck. He done already stacked the deck because he appointed a lot of judges during his presidency. So he is really showing his ass. And it is a lesson on privilege. It's a lesson on letting people get away with things for too long. You will imprison or punish black and brown people or poor people. Let's talk about that, because a lot of this shit is class warfare. We'll imprison those people, punish them very harshly for minor offenses or I've seen people that have gotten, audited and fined for simple tax, infringements or miscalculations. But you have a whole man who's defrauded banks, who's defrauded the country, who's put the democracy in danger, and he is showing his ass, and it's just happening, And I'm starting to believe that the only thing we will get out of this is that mugshot that he got in Atlanta. That's it. Because a lot of this stuff is ridiculous, okay? I'm going to do more on these cases, break those down later. But that's our meeting for today. I'll be back next week with another take. May come back again this week, depending on what happens, because something always happens. But make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Secretary of Shade. Also be on the lookout for the Secretary of Shade TikTok. I'll be here with the official address soon. Upgrades coming, new set coming. I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody has a great day. Be sure to follow me on social media at Dapper Dan Midas. Also, if you want to contribute to the upgrades in the new channel, you can do that on Cash App and Venmo at Dapper Dan Midas as well. Everybody have a great evening, great week, great night, whatever it is in your territory, and I'll see you soon. Be blessed.